What is going on, YouTube and Raider Nation? It's me, Bubba the Raider, coming at you guys on this draft eve. I really hope this video works. I've tried to upload like 3 or 4 videos in the recent weeks, and it just hasn't been working. And I got everything up to date, and it's been hard for me bouncing back and forth between having these technical difficulties, which is probably just my stupidity, and working quite a bit. So anyway, this might be kind of a longer video, but there's some stuff I want to talk about. First off, in my last few videos, I've tried to get this message across. I hope it does come across. I want to send a message out to Mikey Raider, over at Raider Central. I just want to let you know, brother, that we're thinking about you and my house, my family. Thoughts and prayers go out to you. I know you're having a real tough time, as tough a time as you can have with your father's health issues, and I've been watching your vlogs on Hey Bauer, and it's tough, man. I'm so sorry. Like, it's real tough. I've had some thoughts and feelings, and I just wanted you to know, here in the Johnson house, there's nothing but love for you, brother. So to you and your family, a couple thoughts that I had just to offer. What for is that anyone who is anything but supportive of you and how you handle this is, in my opinion, just wrong. You know, no matter what. I mean, at first, I was always supportive, but I disagreed a little bit with some of the stuff that you were saying about the medical field, and then I realized that I'm biased because my wife is a pediatric nurse, and I sat by her side while she comes home crying after having a patient pass away. She works with children, so and I know what a absolutely golden-hearted person she is, and so I guess I was jumping the gun, feeling like, oh no, dude, Mikey, like, I know this is hard, but nurses are awesome and doctors are awesome, and there's not a bad nurse or doctor. And just because my experience with my wife is that she would not be the deceiving behind your back kind of a nurse, that doesn't mean that there aren't. And when I took a minute to really think about it and the things you were saying, like, even if the conspiracy and the behind the back maneuvering isn't truly what's happening, I feel like your nurses and doctors are failing you just for the simple fact that you don't know all the time what truly is happening, to where it feels like they're going behind your back, if that makes sense. So in that way, I think that they're failing you, and that they're wrong. So that's just my thoughts. You know, I know in one of your vlogs you said something about feeling evil, like you're doing the wrong thing. And I'm telling you right now, anything, in my opinion, anything in decision you make that comes from love, that comes from the heart to help your father, makes you a wonderful person and not evil. I don't know how you think you're doing something evil when you're trying to do what's right. And so I support you 100%. My family does. And we're thinking about you. I had a couple really good friends go through a very similar thing over this last summer, and I was with them through that, and it was very difficult. So if you have any questions, and if you do, you know, my wife works medical field, but with children, but you know, she went to college and has dealt with a lot of stuff. So if you do have questions about something maybe you don't fully understand, that your nurse hasn't given you a good enough explanation, shoot me a text, shoot me an email, shoot me a comment, and let me know, and I'll ask her. I mean, she might not know, but she might know exactly what's going on and be able to give you what you're looking for in terms of understanding what's going on. Your dad is a beautiful fighter, and I pray for him every single day. I hope he's pulling through. It's so tough to go through, man, and we're thinking about you. So I just wanted to say that. So as I said, I made a couple videos in the past some that I tried to get creative with, and it was kind of frustrating. Not like everyone was doing mock drafts, so I did a video where I combined 3 different mock drafts that I thought about, where we start at a different direction in the first round and kind of the trickle effect that it has from there. And unfortunately, every time I try to upload it, it didn't work out. So, but essentially, as we'll get into this video, I went like in order from like the top 3 needs. I think we should address one of these 3 needs in the first round, and that's linebacker, corner, and defensive tackle. And I kind of built up to like what would happen if we took a corner in the first, what would happen if we took a defensive tackle in the first, what would happen if we took a linebacker in the first, and the effect and different possibilities that we could go. I'm not going to go through all of those picks, but essentially what I ended up saying was that I believe we should take a linebacker in the first if we are going. I mean, people have really good points. Obviously, we go best player available, but I really think if we're addressing what our team's biggest need is, I believe it's linebacker. So we'll get into that in just a little bit. I made a video also about Las Vegas. I wanted to send my thoughts and condolences to those Raider fans in Oakland who are devastated by the move. And people have been asking me, people in my life, what I think about the move. To me, we're the Oakland Raiders. We've always been the Oakland Raiders to an extent. We'll always be the Oakland Raiders to that same extent. But I'm not devastated by this move for the simple fact that I'm not from the Bay Area. I've not spent much time in the Bay Area. I'm a Raider fan. I'm not an Oakland Raider fan, and that's not me judging you guys who are. I just don't have that perspective to be all broken up and hurt by it. I have family in Vegas. I spend more time in Vegas than I do in Oakland. Not since I moved away from Arizona, but back when I was in Phoenix, it was like a 5-hour drive just to get up and see my cousin in Vegas. So my wife and I would do that, maybe like on average, like once a year. So I don't know. I mean, for me personally, it's not something that I'm broken up about. I'm not really that upset about it. I wanted to stay in Oakland, and if I had the choice, we would stay in Oakland. But we need a new stadium. We're gonna get one. And I hope that's not too harsh. And if you think it is, please let me know. Let me know how it feels. I called in to the Raider Rants on Mikey's Raider Rants, and talked a little bit about Derek Carr's comments. Try not to get too controversial, because I'm a small channel as it is. I don't want to lose any subscribers, but the truth of the matter is, I kind of agree with him. In that, what I don't understand, this is what my rant was about, kind of previewing it if you subscribe to Mikey, and but what I said was, basically, if you are saying because the Raiders are moving from Oakland, I am no longer a Raider fan, and Derek Carr says that the ones who stop being Raider fans aren't true Raider fans, he's just saying what you're saying, that you're not a Raider fan anymore. Like, you're not a Raider fan. And so I have a hard time understanding why people are upset if you say, I'm not a Raider fan because of this move. I don't support the Raiders. I'm not a fan. And Derek Carr says, well, they're not fans. They're not true fans, but they're not fans. Where's the disconnect here? What is there to be all up in a frenzy about? If you are upset and you're not supporting the team like you used to, but you're still like a fan, I understand maybe his comments rubbed you the wrong way. But if you're moving on to a different team, if you're jumping ship, you don't want to be a part of the Raider Nation anymore, why do you care? I don't care what the example I use. I don't care what Drew Brees says about me. I'm a Raider fan. He's not my quarterback. I don't care what Andrew Luck says about me. I'm a Raider fan. He's a quarterback. So I'm not understanding that. I don't mean to offend anybody. I don't want to hurt, you know what I mean? But let me know if I'm not thinking about that in the right context. Because there's something there that I truly am not understanding what the issue is. Other news today, Beast Mode coming to Oakland. I think that this is awesome. It was a move that I was a fan of, but it was not a move that I necessarily was going to be broken up about if it didn't get done. But I'm excited. I don't think he was like if we don't get him, we're going to be awful. But I think he's going to be better than Latavius Murray was. The question now is, do we still draft a running back? And I think so. I think eventually, maybe not as early, but I think we do. He's old, obviously. We don't know what Marshawn Lynch we're getting, but he's going to help that locker room. He's going to help that running backs room, and he's going to be able to actually hit a freaking hole and stop dancing like Latavius did. So I'm excited. I'm ecstatic about it. I think he's going to be a great piece for our team, and I think it's really going to kind of help smooth that awkward, we're leaving, but we're still in Oakland transition because he's an Oakland guy. Nothing you haven't heard before. Cool. So I want to talk a little bit about a mock draft I'm going to put together, or I've put together. Draft is tomorrow. I'm going to kind of speed through this quickly. But the draft is tomorrow, and I am freaking excited about it. So, actually, before I do the Raider mock draft, I'm going to do my NFL mock draft that I did the predict the pick on, something I put together. And here's what I'll do. With the first pick, I've got the Browns taking Myles Garrett. There's a lot of talk about them taking Trubisky here or trading up to take Trubisky as well. I think that would be stupid. I like Trubisky, but I wouldn't pass on Myles Garrett. So that's what I would do. San Francisco 49ers. This is an interesting pick. I think that they're itching to move out of this pick. I didn't put any trades in here, but I do think there will be some. But what's interesting, what the smoke and mirrors I think I see is that they're talking all of a sudden about taking Trubisky. And maybe they will, but I think that this straight up is a move to try and force the Browns to take Trubisky with the first overall pick so that Myles Garrett drops to them. I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I think that whole report about the Niners thinking about Trubisky now is. So I have the Niners taking Malik Hooker, safety from Ohio State. I think he can help. I'm not going to go too in-depth on these because I'm trying to get through all of this. And I've made a Raiders 7-round mock draft. So also, if you're not a Raider fan, or even if you are a Raider fan and you don't like my mock draft, let me know why. I'm more than ears like this. Obviously, you hit like one or two maybe every year with a mock draft. So it's something I just put together. But I'm all ears. Don't be mad at me. Don't hate me. Don't cry. It's going to be okay. Every time someone makes one of these, they say the same thing, and someone in the comments is all upset about it. It's all right. It's going to be okay. We're allowed to have different opinions. Number 3, Chicago Bears. I have them taking Jonathan Allen. I think he's a beast. I think they could use him. And I really, really, really hope they take him so he's not sitting on the board when the Chargers pick. Because the thought of Joey Bosa and Jonathan Allen on the same defensive line in my division does not make me jump for joy. It makes me sick. 4, this is kind of the consensus pick that everyone has. It probably won't happen this way because that's kind of how it works. But Leonard Fournette to the Jags. It just makes too much sense to me. And I think that's where it'll go. 5, Tennessee Titans. I have them taking OJ Howard. I think OJ Howard is probably one of, if not the best draft prospects in this class, and I think that giving Mariota a weapon like him would be amazing for them. I know they need to focus on defense. And in my last mock draft, I had him taking OJ Howard and Mike Williams. And I still think that could happen, but that's not what I have happening right now. So OJ Howard at 5. 6, I have the Jets taking Marshawn Lattimore, corner out of Ohio State. I think they could go quarterback here too. But Lattimore is a very, very good prospect, and that's where I think they're going to go. So brings us to the Chargers. Even though I would love for them to suck forever, I have them taking Jamal Adams, the safety out of LSU. I think he's a beast, and he's going to help them if they take him for years to come, which again I don't jump for joy at. I was super happy when Eric Weddle finally got out of there, so the thought of them bringing in someone even better, or potentially better, doesn't make me thrilled. I've got the Panthers taking Solomon Thomas. A lot of people here have slated McCaffrey or Fournette or Cook, and I could totally see that happening, or OJ Howard or whatever else. But I think losing Coney Ely to the Patriots really kind of created a hole there. And if you look at their defense, they're coming up. I mean, I know that they've drafted they drafted a D tackle. I don't know why I can't think of his name right now. It's not Chris Jones because he went to the Chiefs. It's the other guy, I think from La Tech last year. But they're going to lose one of the either Starlo Tulele. I think Starlo Tulele. I think they gave K'Wan Short an extension. Anyway, their defensive line is going to have some holes opening up on it, and they're going to need some help, and I think that Solomon Thomas provides that. Cincinnati, again, another kind of consensus pick. I have them taking Derek Barnett, defensive lineman out of Tennessee. Buffalo, I kind of wanted to shake things up a little bit, and I don't even know if this is that much of a shake-up. There are some picks in here I do think are shake-ups, but I have Buffalo, even though they have Tyrod Taylor, I have them taking a quarterback, first quarterback off the board, and I have them taking Deshaun Watson. I like Trubisky, but I think Deshaun Watson is going to be the best quarterback in this draft class. So that's what I have. I also think it would be kind of cool later on in the draft if the Bills don't take a quarterback in the first, for them to bring in Chad Kelly, even though he's a freaking idiot, off the field. On the field, he's very talented, and he's Jim Kelly's nephew, so kind of a legacy. It'd be kind of cool. New Orleans. This was a tough one, and I don't think this is going to be a very popular pick. Who knows? It might be. They just traded away Brandon Cooks. So I have them taking John Ross. I'm not saying that they're like the same guy, but, they have their big receiver to get the ball to in Michael Thomas. And now I think, or their tall receiver at least, I think he's pretty tall. John Ross to bring some speed to that offense. I know they need help on the defense, but they have another pick because of that trade. And I think John Ross can be a number one guy. I think he can be super good. And Drew Brees is not getting any older or younger. So eventually someone's going to have to take the reins. And it would be nice to have a young nucleus in place for when that happens. Otherwise, you end up with a situation like if you look at, like, let's say San Francisco did take Mitch Trubiski, number 2 overall. They've made some moves in free agency, but they really don't have anybody for him to throw the ball to there. That was a huge problem last year. So, making sure that there's weapons there, that their weapon stock isn't depleted, will really help whoever fills that next. Unless it says veteran, but if they go with a young guy, that next era of Saints football. Number 12, Cleveland. Now I have him taking Mitch Trubisky. I don't think that's how that's going to play out. I think either he's going to go one of the above, maybe the Jets, maybe Buffalo, maybe the Niners, maybe the Browns, maybe someone like the Texans trade up for him. I don't think he'll be there at 12, but if he is there at 12, there you go, the Browns. And I've heard rumors that the Browns want to trade up from the 12 to the top 5 and take Garrett and Trubisky. Same thing happened in here, just without the trade. Again, I don't necessarily think that's going to happen, but it's how it worked out. Arizona. I had to be kind of, I haven't taken Reuben Foster. I will talk about that in a little bit, about how I drool at the thought of Reuben Foster falling to the Raiders at 24 because of this whole stupidity. Whether he did something or not, it's, Anyway, I don't think the Cardinals will pass up on him regardless. Too much of a talent. At that point, this is where it got tough. So I have Philadelphia taking McCaffrey. I think that they could use his help coming out of the backfield. Indianapolis, I felt like they could go offensive line. I felt like they could go defense. But what I think that team needs, much like Jacksonville, even though I think Jacksonville's got a couple decent pieces there, what they need is a running back. So I have them taking Dalvin Cook. Baltimore, I have them taking Mike Williams. Washington, again, with I'll talk about later with Arizona, I have them taking Haason Reddick. I don't want him to, but I have him taking Haason Reddick. Here we go with Tennessee, finally getting that defensive player they need. I have them taking Marlon Humphrey, corner out of Alabama. Tampa Bay, I have them taking David Njoku, the tight end. Give Jameis Winston another target to throw the ball to. Denver, have them taking Cam Robinson. Detroit, Taco Charlton. A lot of these guys are local from the States. At least they played in the States or around the area where I have them going, which I think can help, like Njoku and Charlton. Miami, here's one. Every year I feel like there's a guy who in this time is projected to be to go later, and someone takes a flyer on him a little bit earlier than he might have gone. So I kind of wanted to have some of that happening, and I kind of did with Deshaun Watson. And here I have Miami taking Chidobe Awuzie, the corner out of Colorado. I think he helps them out. That he's been kind of on the rise the last couple days, and people kind of think he might sneak into the first, but I have him going here to Miami. The Giants, with OJ Howard and Njoku and the 3 running backs off the board, I think they need to help solidify their offensive line. Again, I don't watch all these teams very closely, so I could be wrong, but I have them taking Forrest Lamp out of Western Kentucky. Here's the Raiders. Again, I mentioned I think that our biggest position of need is a linebacker, primarily the inside linebacker, Mike Backer. So I have us taking Jarrad Davis out of Florida. That's not like a pick. Everyone seems to have us taking him. I like him. I think that will be a good pick if we do that. I have a feeling we won't do that, but if we did. Houston, I have him taking Pat Mahomes. Seattle was lucky enough to have Ryan Ramczyk there. Kansas City, this is a pick that I think that they could make, and I kind of hope they do because I'm not big on this guy, and that's Deshone Kizer. So I have them taking him, and I hope he goes there, and I hope he sucks. Dallas, I have them taking TJ Watt. Green Bay, here's the pick. I talked about it in the videos that weren't able to get uploaded, but highly controversial. I don't think he deserves to be taken in the first round. Joe Mixon, that's who I have going. To the Packers. The Steelers, this is another tough one. When I was looking at what was available, this is a position where I think Steeler fans are going to be upset with me for this pick, but I've actually seen him mocked with this position a few times, and I don't think it's necessarily their biggest position of need, but I have them taking Corey Davis, the wide receiver from Western Michigan. I think his talent is too good to pass up, especially when you talk about pairing him with Antonio Brown and a possible quarterback coming in, like we mentioned with the Saints, to come in and take over for Roethlisberger, who's going to leave eventually. So, just another weapon for that. So I have Corey Davis. Atlanta Falcons, I have him taking McKinnley, Takkarist McKinnley, defensive lineman. And I'm not sure if that's necessarily their biggest need, but get best player available. When you start getting down into it, that's kind of what you take. And New Orleans, another local guy that I have them taking that has kind of bounced back and forth and been considered really good and then struggled or whatever else. I have them taking Tre'davious White. So that's my first round mock draft. Let me know what you think. From there, Raiders mock draft. That's my team. I want to start by saying I saw like top 5 things the Raiders should do in the draft, and this will not happen. It was on Bleacher Report. I'm sure a lot of you saw it. Will not happen. But if it did, I would be a happy camper. It said we should trade up and take Malik Hooker, the safety from Ohio State. They said they thought he was going to fall a little bit. You just saw my mock draft. I had him go number 2 overall. And I was like, man, no. Like, no. And then it said the next thing we should do is take Reuben Foster in the second. And I was like, hold up. He's not going to be there when we pick. But if that was to happen right there, we were to have Malik Hooker and Reuben Foster. And then it said the next one in the third, take Joe Mixon. I was like, I've got conflicting feelings about what Joe Mixon did and whether or not he should have a shot. But he's talent. And so I was like, dang, Malik Hooker, Reuben Foster, Joe Mixon. I was like, give up our first for next year. At that point, we're shutting it down. It's over. Like, those 3 guys will make us push us over that hump. It would be bad. It would be bad for all 31 other teams. So, with that said, I don't think that'll happen. That's not what I have happening in my mock draft. But this is what I have happening. I think that if Reuben Foster is on the board, I will be spitting pissed if we pass on him. If he's not on the board and Haason Reddick is, I'll be spitting pissed if we pass on him. If both of them are off the board, which they probably will be, I think we need to go Jarrad Davis. So that's what I have in round 1. Foster, Reddick, Davis. Probably Davis, like I had in my mock draft. Round 2. Now, here's the thing. I asked me yesterday about this guy. I said this guy should not be drafted, period. Should not have a chance to play in the NFL, period, if what they said is true. However, I just read that there's video evidence that at least proves that what the girl was saying about Gareon Conley was, at least to an extent, completely false. That there's video evidence that proved her story didn't match up, that the timeline didn't match up, that she was hanging out with him before. They both admit to going to the room together, but she's like, he met me in the elevator, whatever else. I don't know to what extent it's true, but there's a video of them hanging out at a club before and holding hands and whatever else. That's not to say that I believe that you can't hold hands with someone, leave with someone, and end up raping them. That's totally possible. But if she's lying about it and it comes back that he didn't do it, I still think he's going to fall. So I have us taking him in round 2. Which is really stupid, because if he does fall because someone was just was being trifling and was trying to mess him up and get money and sue and whatever else, that could ruin that guy's life. So don't rape people, and don't accuse people of raping you who didn't rape you. I think that's pretty common sense. No means no. So, yeah, that's for a whole different topic, but I have us taking Gareon Conley, provided he didn't do it. Round 3, if Sidney Jones is there, I think we double up. Take Gareon Conley and Sidney Jones. Sidney Jones can come in, and those can be our guys for the future. But I have us not with Sidney Jones not being on the board. So I was taking Cordrea Tankersley, another really good corner that I think will help us at that position. I do think that even probably more than corner, we need interior pass rush and interior run stuff. We need defensive tackles. However, a guy like Reuben Foster really helps out up the middle things. And, and I said it before in other videos, Sean Smith and David Amerson are better starting options than Ben Heaney, Corey James, and we don't even have Dan Williams. Like, our corner situation, in my opinion, is better than our defensive tackle and our linebacker situation. But that doesn't mean it's good. So this is a best player available sort of a thing. And I think doubling up, solidifying our corner position, or maybe taking a safety in there to help take over for Reggie Nelson when he's done, really would help. So I do have us going double corners in round 2 and 3. Round 4, I have us taking Jaron Jones, defensive tackle out of Notre Dame. We finally addressed that interior issue, and I think he can help. Round 5, I have us taking James Conner, running back from Pitt. He's a guy I've seen us slated to us a lot. I think he can learn a lot behind Marshawn Lynch. High character guy, very talented, and can really put his nose to the grindstone and run with some power, which is what I think we need. Round 6, again, everything is best player available. I think we're in a position in this draft, more so than ever, where every pick is best player available. You just let the board fall how it falls, and you pick from the top. So, round 6, I was taking Justin Sr., the offensive lineman, go in there and compete with the right tackle spot, which is like the only weak spot probably on our offense at this point. And we just brought in Marshall Newhouse. I don't know how good he'll be, but bring someone else in there to compete. And then I have us taking Xavier Woods, safety from Louisiana Tech. Again, someone to give some depth to and maybe compete for that free safety spot. Strong safety. I really think Carl Joseph belongs at free when to ball hawk, like when Reggie Nelson leaves. I think that we need to bring in to get us a guy, and I'm not saying Xavier Woods is going to be this guy, but if anything, he's depth. We need to model what the Seahawks have with Earl Thomas, which is who my comparison is to Carl Joseph, maybe a harder hitting Earl Thomas, with Cam Chancellor. Earl at free, Cam at strong, Carl Joseph, let him sit back there, he's smaller, ball hawk, and find some monster to come play strong safety is what I think we need to do. However, I think Carl's proved that he can hold it down at the strong safety position as well. So, but Xavier Woods, at least some depth and competition at safety, even if he's not the answer moving forward. With the last 7th round pick, I have us taking Matt Milano, an outside linebacker from Boston College. Again, Shalik Calhoun, Alden Smith, if he can, whatever. Jelani Jenkins now, Nearon Ball. Like, we have guys there, but we don't really have linebackers. So we need people to come in and step into that role and really embrace it. And I think Jelani Jenkins will do it. And if we take like Reuben Foster, Haason Reddick, or Corey Davis, the thing about Haason Reddick that he gives that is such a thing that NFL teams want these days, he has such versatility that, kind of like Khalil, he doesn't have to play one position. If you end up taking a best player available next year and it's a middle linebacker that's an absolute stud, you can move Haason Reddick outside. You can put Haason Reddick's hand in the dirt. I bet you Haason Reddick can play some safety if he wanted to. He was a walk-on safety. Probably not a good idea, but you know what I'm saying. Like, he's a guy who can move around and plug him in where you need him. Much like Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack can go back and play linebacker all he wants. Khalil Mack could probably play middle linebacker, but, where we need him is with his hand in the dirt rushing the passer. So that's my 7-round mock draft. I'm so excited for the draft tomorrow. It's like my favorite day. This draft is exciting because it's super talented, and it was a little disappointing that I didn't have as much time to really study these players as I usually do, with everything that's been going on in my life, which I'm not complaining. People have it a lot worse going on right now. But it's just been crazy hectic and a lot of time that I've needed to be away. So let me know what you think. If you like this video, like it. If you don't like it, you can go ahead and dislike it. Let me know why. If you haven't subscribed, please do. If you love what you see, tell your friends. And I just hope we go out there and make good decisions. I fully trust Reggie McKenzie. There's some guys I'm not huge on, but I think even if he takes those guys I'm not huge on, I'll jump right on board because he's proven that he knows what he's doing. So, I'll make more videos coming up, especially tomorrow probably. I got to work the next morning, so I'm not sure if I'll have another video out tomorrow or if it'll be after or on Friday night. Anyway, but I will be keeping up with this draft. I'm going to be watching the whole thing. So, anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and just win, baby.